This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, welcome back to today's session. We are discussing about Linux basics, right? So we are understanding how do we, customize the Linux operating system as per the business need. As part of that goal, we are discussing about some of the basics, right? So in the previous session, we talk about the Linux architecture in terms of understanding the terminology called kernel and a shell. We have understood that shell is the interpreter which is accepting the commands from the user and translating that commands to the kernel, and the kernel is the one which takes the command from the shell and talking to the backend hardware directly to make your instructions are executing, and the output is generated accordingly. Good. And we had a discussion that the ultimate goal is to keep some data in the server and retrieve the data whenever we need it. Correct. In order to keep the data in the server, obviously we need to work with the files and the folders, right? The file is the one where we keep the data. The folder or a directory is the one where we actually keep the nested, right? The hierarchy of the files and directories. Good to know, right? So we have seen the directory structure that in the Linux, the root directory is also called as a slash. Every directory or a file must be resided under the root directory only. That is the standard statement. Under the slash, right? So there will be a multiple subdirectories will be there, and as we seen, there are some default directories will exist in any Linux OS distribution, and these default directories are used to keep certain important data. Every directory what you see under this root has some significant importance, right? What type of data that we need to keep. When I say what type of data, is mean that the data could be for various reasons, right? So we are going to discuss about that in later, what type of data that we need to keep into the respective folder. But for now, under the slash opt home tmp usr etc root mnt where, these are the standard most frequently used directory structures under the root. And again guys, if you see the directories under the slash, there is a one more directory called root, so we should not be confusing here, right? So slash is the name of the directory which is also called as a root directory. Under this slash root directory there is a one more directory called root. This is the root is the name of the directory, right? So the root directory and the slash directory, right? Both we should not be in confusion. The slash is also called as a root directory. Under the root directory there is a one more directory called root. That's how it is. Well, so now since we have multiple directories are available in the Linux systems, we should be familiar how do we navigate from one folder to the other folder, and how do we ensure that we are currently operating on which directory. That is where I will be logging into the Linux machine, then I'll talk about the absolute and relative paths in a Linux. Okay, so I have a EC2 instance which is already created in my AWS account, and let me take the IP address of this machine and logging into the server. As our focus is now, right, we have the infrastructure is already prepared in the AWS. Now we need to logging into the server to right, deal with the Linux based operations. So I'm just attaching the key pair and I'm just keeping the non-zero value as a keep alive setting so that my session will not be get terminated if I'm not doing anything on the session, and increasing the font, and let me logging into the server. And of course the default username is ec2-user and it use the key as a authentication mechanism. The ec2-user is the ordinary user, so we need to switch to the root by running sudo su hyphen. Once you log in to the server as root, then you are a super user and you can run any commands as you like. Well, Huyame command will give you the information who currently logged into the server. Currently, I logged in as a ROOT user, root user, or a super user, right? Now, so cd is the command which will be helping you to navigate from one folder to the other folder, right? So maybe I want to go to a root directory. So cd slash. This command will take you to the a slash directory. Slash is the starting directory or a root directory. To confirm that where I am currently, right? pwd present working directory. Currently, I am working on the a slash directory. To see the list of nested directories and the files, ls is the command. Probably ls-l is the command which will give us the list of files and the directories which are available on this present working directory. Well, so I just wanted to have a quick recap, guys, what we have discussed in the previous lecture. From there, I'll take you guys to the next level of discussions. Now, under the slash, I could see there are multiple directories. If you want to go to any one of the directory, then the command is cd. Let's say I want to go to this opt directory. So always you need to specify the absolute path. The absolute path is the path which you are stating start from the root directory. That means under the slash opt is there, so we need to specify cd slash opt. Then you can see that currently I am in the opt directory. The opt is in the slash directory. That is the absolute path of this folder. Now if you run ls-l, guys, it is showing the list of directories under the opt folder. Okay, now let's say I want to go to this aws folder. The command is cd. I want to go to aws folder where it is available. Aws folder is available in opt folder. Opt folder is available in root folder. So this is how you need to specify the absolute path of the directory where you want to navigate and hit enter. Now you see where I am, pwd. Currently I am operating from aws folder and the aws folder is available in opt. Opt is available in the root folder. So the goal is to understand how do we navigate to the different folder. Don't worry about what is OPT, what is AWS. Just think of like those are just a directories, right? Now, if you run ls-l command, it is giving you the list of directories which are under the AWS folder. Obviously, right? This is the directory hierarchy, correct? So in one folder there will be multiple folders. In each folder again you can see multiple folders. That's how the directory hierarchy will be there. Now let's say I want to go to this bin folder, cd. I want to go to the bin folder. Where is the bin folder? The bin folder is in the AWS folder. AWS folder is in the OPT. OPT is in the slash. You see, this is how you are specifying the complete path of your directory. This is also called as a absolute path. Absolute path in the sense no matter your directory resided in any location, you need to specify the a complete path start from the slash. Now you verify where I am now. Currently I am in the bin folder which is in the AWS, which is in the OPT, which is in the slash. If you look at this absolute path, guys, the starting slash is called as a root directory. After that, whatever the slash that you see, that is just a separation symbol. Okay, so OPT is the directory. Under the OPT directory, there is a one more directory. So the slash is used just as a separator symbol to understand that, right, under one folder there is a another folder, but the starting slash whatever you see, that is called as a root directory, that is not a separator. That's how the difference would we need to understand. Good. So that means what, in the Linux system, right, you may be having hundreds of directories, correct? If you look into this particular screen, right, so under the slash as we discussed, right, so there will be some set of directories. Let's say I have a directory called dir2 dir3. The name of the directory could be anything, right? So here I'm just taking the example naming standards as dir2 and 3. Like that we may be having some number of directories under the slash, and again in each directory you may be having few other directories, correct? So this is how we have the Linux, the directory hierarchy is there. You may be creating a multiple directories as per the requirements. You see, this is how I have created the multiple set of directories and the files. And now if you want to navigate, okay, to any of the directories that you wanted to operate, right, you need to use the absolute path. Now of course I need not to create this entire directory hierarchy whatever you are seeing here in the server. It's a question for you guys. Let's say I want to, right, I want to operate something on the dir10, what you see here, right? Of course you are able to see my cursor. There is a dir10 directory available, and if I want to go to the directory, what is the absolute path, guys? Right, so if I want to go to this directory called dir10, the absolute path will be slash, thank you, please be on mute, guys. So if I want to go to this dir10, first I need to go to the slash, under the slash go to dir2, under the dir2 go to dir1, under the dir1 go to dir2, under dir2 there is a dir10, that is called as a absolute path. Any path that starts with the slash root directory is called as a absolute path, and of course you must be specifying the path of a file or a directory when you are doing some operations on the files and directories. If you are not specifying the path, how do the system know about it? Correct. Even if it is a Windows, same concept. You will be specifying the location, right? Then only you will be accessing the data. Good to know. So now with this concept, let me go and create some directories, guys.
So Pierre, I have a question.
Yes, Saket.
So do we need to mention like CD slash DAR2 slash DAR1, or directly you can give the slash the starting?
Hmm. So let me see how that works now. Okay. So currently I'm in the slash directory, correct? And
Okay.
I'm able to see the list of directories that are available in the slash. Now my goal is there is a mnt directory. Under the mnt directory, maybe I'm planning to create a one more directory. That's my requirement. Okay. And we know that mkdir is the command to create a directory. Maybe my directory name is dir1. Now you need to specify the directory has to be created in which location, correct? So I'm planning to create this directory under mnt directory. And where is mnt? The mnt directory is available under the slash directory. So this is how you need to specify the absolute path where you want to create a directory. Then it thinks that the dir1 is the name of the directory that has to be created under the mnt. Mnt is under the slash, and hit enter. Now the directory is created under the mnt. Previously in the yesterday session, I have shown you that the mkdir and the directory name. I have not specified the location where my directory has to be created in the yesterday session, right? Now if you see, I'm using the same command. I'm creating a directory, but I need to specify the exact location where you are expecting the directory to be created. Now I want to see whether the directory is created or not. Maybe before that I'll create one more file. We know that the touch is the command to create a file. Maybe my file name is f1. Where I want to create a file, that is the next question, correct? Obviously the system has hundreds of directories, so we need to specify the file has to be created in which location. So the file has to be created in the
లాక్లెట్ ఏంటి
mnt directory.
నోట్లో
Sorry. Yeah, please be on mute, guys. Thank you. Right. So my intention is I. Mhm. So I think, right, if you keep on mute, I think it will not be get unmuted by itself, right? So whenever you have some question to speak, please be unmute or else keep it in mute, guys, forever. Thank you. Well, so and of course, I'm going very slowly because from my perspective, the basics are very important and very not tricky as well to understand. The further advanced concepts are very easy to understand, guys. Okay. So my intention is to create a file. The file name is f1. I want to create a file in the mnt directory. The mnt directory is in the root directory. That is how we need to specify the complete absolute path the file is created. So if you want me to take this into the representation, so I have a, give me a second, guys. I have a root directory, correct? So now under the root directory, there is a mnt directory. Under the mnt directory, I'm just creating my directories. So I just have created a dir1 under the mnt, correct? And also under the mnt, I have created a file called f1. This is what I have just created, guys. Cool. Now I want to see whether what exactly there under the mnt directory. That is something I wanted to see. What is the command to see the list of files and directories, guys? Let me clear the screen for now so that I can run the command from the top lines, right? So now I have created something. Now I want to run a ls command to see what is there in the MNT. The ls is not showing that information. The ls is showing something else. So when you are running the ls command, you need to specify exactly where you want to look for. I want to look for the list of directories and the files under the MNT. And where is MNT? MNT is under the root folder, and hit enter. Now you see, for my ls command, I am giving the argument. This is the location where I wanted to see the list of files and directories, and it is showing that under the MNT, dir1 is there and f1 is there. These two, the one which I created some time back. Of course, we can run a -l flag to give a more detailed information about these entries, right? Now you can see the dir1 and f1, right, which is under the MNT. So this is how you can give the absolute path where you wanted to see the list. Whenever you get a list in the ls-l, if you see the starting character, guys, if it is start with D, that refers that it is a directory. If it start with a hyphen, that refers that that is a file. Obviously, there is a difference, right? What is file and directory? The file will contain the content, whereas the directory can contain more number of other nested directories and the files, correct? So how do I know which is a file, which is a directory? Obviously, we should not depend on the name, right? The naming convention is not a best practice. So we need to depend on the starting character in the output. D refers directory, hyphen refers file. Of course, we can see some color difference as well, and we should not rely on the color because the color can be changing. It is just a user customization. So you may not see this color, exact color in the different environments when you logged into the different Linux systems. So this is not the best way to look at. So always we need to rely on the starting character in the ls-l. Good. So now let's say where I am now. Can you guess, guys, what is my PWD? I am currently, right, creating the file and directory in the MNT folder. I'm listing the entries from the MNT folder. Now what is my PWD? Let me see where I am currently. You are currently still in the root directory. Your present working directory is not changed, right? You are still in the present working directory only. Sorry, you are still in the root directory only, but you are able to manage the things on the different directories by giving that absolute path to your command. Possible. Let's say I want to delete the file. We know the command called f1 is the command to, sorry, rm is the command to delete the file, rm, and the f1 and hit enter. You get an error. See, you are trying to delete a f1 file, but there is no file is available. Why? It's your responsibility to mention the complete path, right? Where is f1 file? The f1 file is available in MNT folder. The MNT folder is available in root folder. This is called as a absolute path, and you just hit the command. Now it is deleting it. Now if you look into the MNT, there is only one directory. The file is completely removed, right? So that means either it could be a rm command, ls command, mkdir command, touch command. Whenever you are playing around with the files and directories, you need to specify the path of the file or a directory, right? So the path can be specified as a absolute or relative. Currently, whatever the path that I'm talking about is called as a absolute path. Let me clear the screen. now. So cd mnt, that means I'm switching my present working directory to the mnt location. Now mkdir, my requirement is still same, guys. Under the mnt, right, I want to create a one more folder. Okay, so under the mnt I'm trying to create maybe dir2. So sometime back I was in the root, my pwd was slash. When my pwd was slash, and the command that I have used to create a directory is mkdir slash mnt slash dir1, correct? Why I have given the absolute path here? Because at the time me running this command, my present working directory is slash, so I need to specify the complete path. But now the scenario is changed. What is my present working directory? At the moment, my present working directory is mnt, correct? So the scenario is presently I am inside the mnt folder. Now I want to create a directory. So what is the command? mkdir specify dir2, that is the directory that I wanted to create. You need not to specify that the directory has to be created in the mnt. The mnt is in the slash. Why? You are already in the present working directory mnt only. You can just specify the directory name and hit enter. So now if your path is not started with the slash, then that is called as a relative path, right? Now the mkdir is assuming that because the path is not started with a slash, it thinks that this has to be created in the present working directory, and in this case the present working directory is mnt, so the dir2 will be created in the mnt only. I can see the list. Okay, so ls minus l. Sometime back I have given the path as well where I wanted to see the list. Now I need not to. You see, if you give ls minus l, I am not specifying the path here, guys, in which location I wanted to see the list, because I am already in the same directory. So ls minus l will assume that the list has to be provided from the present working directory, and it is now showing the list of directories in the mnt. Same way, let me use the touch command. Touch F1. I have not specified the complete path, right, but how it understands that where it has to be created. Same concept, the relative path. It assumes that the file has to be created in the present working directory, which is mnt in this case. So simply put, right, so if you are giving the absolute path, then the path will start from the root. If you are not giving the path starting from root, that is called as a relative path, right? Mostly the relative paths will be used when you wanted to do something on the present working directory. If you want to do something on the altogether a different location, then rather using the cd command and switching to there, right, it's better to give the absolute path. Either you use a absolute or relative path, the things are same. It's your comfortability. You wanted to use the absolute or a relative path. I'll talk about that now. Let's say currently I am in the mnt location. Now my requirement is I want to create a one more directory in the mnt. In the mnt, I am trying to create a one more directory called dir3. Now tell me, guys, absolute path is better or relative path is better in this scenario? I am doing mkdir dir3 that I wanted to create, right? So absolute or relative path. Maybe in this scenario, relative path is easy for me because I'm currently in the same directory and I can just hit enter rather specifying /mnt/dir3. Maybe I'll come up with one more scenario, right? So I want to create a directory. Maybe under the slash there is a opt, right? And under the opt I want to create a directory. So I want to create a dir4 directory under the opt which is in the slash. Now tell me guys the absolute or relative path that I need to use now, right? So currently I am in where? Currently I am in the mnt directory. If you look into this graph, currently I am in this location, but I want to create a directory in the a different location altogether. Maybe absolute path is better, correct? So the command would be mkdir dir4 that I want to create in the opt. The opt is in the slash. So this is called as a absolute path, guys. So whether you want to use absolute or relative is up to your comfortability. There is no hard rule that which you need to use in which scenario. It's your comfortability. It's all about specifying the location where you want to create the files. Well, now, so I want to create a directory in the mnt, guys. So mkdir, I want to create dir5 in the mnt. We can even specify dot slash. Okay, so the dot slash refers that it is the relative path. Okay, so dot refers present working directory in the Linux. So this command, okay, so this command is equal to mkdir slash mnt slash dir5. Both are same, guys. Okay, so wherever the dot is available, that dot refers present working directory. That dot will be replaced with the present working directory, which is mnt in this case. Let's say my present working directory is mnt in this example. Then whenever you are running the command mkdir dot slash dir5, then the dot will be replaced with the pwd, which is slash mnt. Then your directory will be created in the present working directory only. So the dot is optional, guys. That's the reason we are using mkdir dir5, right? So mkdir dir5, mkdir dot slash dir5, both are same. That means dot refers present working directory and the dot is optional. Whether you keep the dot, whether you don't keep the dot, it thinks that it is a present working directory as long as the path is not started with the slash. Good. Now, so maybe I'll go to any one of the directory, guys. Currently I am in the mnt, right? So probably I'll go to this dir1 to talk about few other scenarios. Under the mnt, as of now, I can see 1, 2, 3, 5 and one file. I want to go to dir1 now. Cd dir1, cd dir1, cd dot slash dir1, cd slash mnt slash dir1. All these three commands are same. Please tell me if you are agreeing for this or not. Okay, so in this, I'm not running the command, guys. I'm just trying to give you the example here, right? cd slash mnt slash dir1 is the absolute path. CD dot slash dir1 is the relative path. CD dir1 is also the relative path. As the dot is optional, I am not using the dot in this present notation. If your path is not started with the slash, then it thinks that, right, it is a relative path, and it assumes that the present working directory where it has to be operated, right? So it's your comfortability which command that you wanted to use. Now I'm using cd dir1. Now it assumes that it has to go to the dir1 in the present working directory. That's where we can see the PWD is now changed. Now where I am, guys, currently I'm playing around right from this directory. This is my PWD. My requirement is very simple. One requirement, I want to create a file under this dir1. Under this dir1, I want to create a file. The file name is called f2, let's say. Tell me, guys, the command to create this using the relative path. Touch f2, touch dot slash maybe f3, touch slash mnt slash dir1 slash f4. Can you confirm, guys, in the chat window all these three commands are creating the files in the same location? Yes, obviously. If you see ls-cell now, and I am currently in the dir1, f2, f3, f4. All these three files are created in the same location. I just have used the different ways of specifying the path. This is the absolute path where I have given the path start from the slash, and this is the relative path using dot. This is the relative path without giving the dot, as dot is optional. Now my requirement is, right, I want to create a file under MNT. Under MNT, I want to create a file called maybe f3, right? So that means what? Under slash under MNT, I want to create a file called f3. Now tell me, guys, the command to create a f3 file under MNT. I'm clearing the screen. So it's advisable to run the pwd command right before you take a decision to specify the path, guys. pwd will help you. Currently I'm in the dir1 location, and my requirement is I want to create a file under the mnt. Can I call for this dir1, the mnt is the parent directory, yes or no? When this is the hierarchy of the multiple directories, the relationship is called as a parent and the child, correct? If you look into this, for slash, mnt is the child directory. For mnt, dir1, dir2, dir3 are the child directories. If I talk about dir1, for dir1, mnt is the parent. For mnt, slash is the parent. That is how the parent and child relationship is there in the Linux directories. Now, I am currently in the dir1. I want to create a file under the mnt. Mnt is the parent of me, correct? So that means I want to create a file under the parent directory. That's the requirement. And of course, it can be done in multiple ways. Touch slash mnt slash maybe f1. This is the one way to create a file under the mnt, which is the absolute path. We are very clear about it. Touch dot dot slash f3. This is the other way to create a files under the mnt, guys. Here I am using dot dot. Dot dot refers parent directory. Wherever you mention dot dot, that is replacing with the parent directory. So in Linux, if you are using dot dot, that means that is the parent directory. That means the dot dot will be replaced with the parent directory. What is the parent directory? My present working directory is dir1. For this dir1, the parent is mnt. So the mnt will be replaced in the dot dot. That's how the f3 will be created in the mnt. So now you can see ls-l mnt. Under the mnt, you can see the f1 as well as I can see the f3 as well. So here to note that the absolute path is the path which start from the slash, the relative path where it will start either with the dot or dot dot. Dot refers the present working directory, dot dot refers the parent directory. I'm taking multiple scenarios guys here to understand the difference between the absolute and the relative paths, just to get more clarity on that. Let's say I want to create a file under this dir4 guys. That is my new requirement. So here I want to create a file called f5, let's say. Right, I want to create a f5 file under the dir4. It is in the opt, it is in the slash, and currently I am in dir1 location. Now tell me guys, the command to create the f5 file using a relative path. The absolute path is very simple, right? So it's blindly we need to give the path starting from the root. That is the absolute path. There is no tricky in that. So now I need to use the relative path to create a f5 file. When I say relative, is mean that we need to give the path starting from your present working directory. Correct. Now what is the command to create a f5 file using the relative path? When I say relative path, obviously you need to see what is your present working directory. My present working directory is /mnt/dir1. Now I want to know the command to create a f5 using the relative path. Touch. So currently I am in the dir1. For the dir1, the parent is mnt, correct? So give dot dot. Now it went to the mnt. For mnt, the parent is root. Give one more dot dot. Now currently I am in the root directory. From the root directory, I need to go to opt. From the opt, I need to go to dir4. In the dir4, I need to create a file. So this is the relative path to create this file. I have not seen this command given in the chat window by anyone. So right, I have used two dot dots here guys, right? So you guys to the mnt, which is my parent. The another dot dot is taking to the parent of this mnt, which is slash. Now I went to the slash. Now under the slash opt is there, under that dir4 is there, under that I need to create a file called f5. Let me run this and see what is happening. This is my present working directory. Now I'm right running this command. Now you can visualize what is happening, right? So the first dot dot is taking where? Currently you are in dir1. The first dot dot is mean that the parent directory. For the dir1, the parent is mnt. Again I'm seeing the dot dot. For what is the parent of this mnt? Slash. Under the slash I can see opt, then dir4 and the f5. This is how you can use the relative paths, guys. We can go to any level using this parent directory structure. So for each parent directory, we can give a slash as a separator. Of course, it is not uh, convenient for us to use this kind of approach to create a file in the F5. Rather me using dot slash then this path, we can directly use the absolute path, correct? I can use dot opt dir4 slash f. This is more convenient, I agree, but I have taken this scenario just to make you guys understanding the use case of the dot dot. This is just representing the parent directories. We can go to any up level, right, by using the dot dots, right? Good. So that means I'm using just two levels of parent directories here, not much things here. So from the dir1, go to one level of parent, again go to another level of parent, then go to opt, then go to dir5. That's what this command is doing all together, right? Well, so that is the absolute and the relative path, guys, and whichever the path that you wanted to use, it's your comfortability. There is no hard rule again, right? You need to use absolute or relative path, which you feel comfortable, you can just use that. Well, now I'm just trying to delete the file. I'm just taking one more scenario here. Maybe this is the last scenario that I wanted to cover related to the absolute and the relative paths. Okay, so I want to delete this F5 file, guys. I want to delete this F5 file, and presently I am in the MNT, right? So my PWD is MNT. Now, what is the command to delete the F5 file using the relative path? I want to delete the F5 file. The F5 file is in the dir4. The dir4 is in the OPT. OPT is in the slash, but my requirement is not to use the absolute path. My requirement is to use the relative path, guys, right? So now it will be dot dot, correct? So currently I am in the MNT location as per this scenario, and from the MNT the parent is root. So I need to go one level of parent, that is dot dot. Under the root, then I can go to, or I can follow this child relationship. So this is the command to, right, delete the F1 file. Done. Now my requirement is I want to delete this dir1 directory, guys. Okay, so I want to delete this dir1. What is the command, guys, to delete this directory? So maybe you know rmdir command. I want to delete dir1. Maybe if I use the relative path, it will be dot slash, correct? Why dot slash? Because my present working directory is mnt, and under the mnt dir1 is there, and you need to specify dot slash. If you are not giving the path correctly, you get an error that the directory is not exist. It's your responsibility to give you the path correctly, right? Then only it will be done. We have seen this command, right, in yesterday. rmdir is the command to delete the directory, and the directory is available in the present working location. You see, yesterday this command was working, but today it is not working. Why? The rmdir command to delete the empty directories only. As of now, the dir1 is not the empty directory. So what is there in dir1? Let me see that. ls minus l dir1, correct? The dir1 directory is holding 3 files. It is not the empty. When the directory is not the empty, then the rmdir command will not work. So you need to use the rm command only. Rm command to remove the file, right? But I can use the rm command with hyphen r flag. I said that the flags will give the different behavior of the command. The r flag is mean that the recursive. That means to delete the dir1, first delete the child, then delete the parent itself, right? So now hit enter. First it is trying to delete the dir1. It is now deleting f2, f3, f4. Finally the directory itself will be deleted. Now if you see under the mnt, the dir1 is not available. And of course, if you don't like it is asking for the confirmation, we can give the another flag called f. We have seen that the f is the flag to give the force, right? I'll use this now. Let's say I want to delete this dir2 also. rm hyphen rf dir2 simply. It is possible to give multiple flags with one hyphen. Hyphen r and f. Both flags I'm giving to this command. The command behavior will be changing. It is deleting recursively and forcefully. So don't ask for the confirmation and the directory will be get deleted. So these are the scenarios that I'm showing you guys. Let me clear the screen. So this absolute and relative paths will help you to navigate from one location to the another location, creating or deleting the files or directories in the specified location. This is great. And as we see, the directories are holding the nested directory structure or the files. The file is containing the content, correct? Let's say I have a F1 file here. The F1 file is holding some data. So now we should know how to write data to the file. If it is Windows, more easy, right? Maybe you just go and right click and create a notepad file, correct? So probably what you do guys, right? So you just do the right click and you create a notepad file, right? And open the file and start putting the data in the file, correct? Yeah, you just open the file in your favorite editor. What is editor guys? Editor is the one which will allow you to add the data and save the data, correct? So once you open the file, you can see a cursor here and start writing the data. And once you put the data, you do Control S so that the file will be saved, correct? And whenever you want to, right, modify the text, you take the mouse cursor and go to that location and delete that and put or replace it. So now we need to know exactly in the Linux machine how do we use editors and how to add the data to the files. If we go back to the Linux machine, in Linux, VI editor is very famous to modify, add, delete the content in the files. To use the VA editor is like a notepad editor guys, nothing new here, right? So but in the notepad you see the mouse which you can use to, right, move the cursors, but here we don't see that as it is a command line interface, right? So we need to use the VA editor and specify the file, which file you wanted to modify the content. VA and the F1, hit enter. Now it will open the VA editor guys. Whatever the screen that you see now, this is called as a VI editor. Now you don't see any bash shell here. That means all the bash shell commands will not be working now. We know that once the bash shell is ready for you, then only you can give the shell commands. Now I don't see any bash shell available for me because I'm inside the VI editor. I'm inside the file now. So I just need to add some text to this file and save the file. That is my goal. Once you done with your file changes, again you can save the file and come back. That's how the file is completely saved and you back to your bash shell to run any more commands on this. Interesting, right? So VI, specify the file name. Again, even in the VI, we can use the relative path, we can use the absolute path, right? It's all about your choice, right? So maybe I'm using the relative path to specify the location of the file which I wanted to open in the VI editor to add the content. Now you see the cursor, guys. This is where you can add the data to the file, but the tricky is the mouse will not work. The VI editor has its own commands to play around it. Now I want to write some data to this file and I'm just typing the data here. I'm just typing some characters, guys, but it is not taking my data. Why? The VI editor is working in two modes. One is the command mode, one is the insert mode. Okay. By default, when the file is opened in the editor, it is in the command mode. That means whatever you type, that is accepted as a command only, hence you don't see the data here. Now you need to change the VA editor mode from command mode to the insert mode to enter the data. To go to the insert mode, the command is I. You see now, I just typed I. The moment when I type I, the editor is changed to the insert mode. That means now my editor is ready to take the characters and add the characters as a data. Now whatever you type, that is taken as a data, the data will be filled in the file. Now you just start writing the data is taken. Now once you are done with adding the data, sorry, right? Now we need to save the file, right? Again, how do you save? Saving is also a command. So first we need to come out from the insert mode to the command mode, then we need to give the command to save the file. Actually, to save the file, the command is :w. This is the command to save the file, but if you run :w, it is treated this also as a data. No, this is not the data. I want to save the file. So what you need to do is, before you are running the commands to manage the file behavior or the content, you need to run escape. You type escape. When you type escape, you see that the insert mode is disappeared here. That means now my VA editor is in the command mode. Now whatever you run or whatever you type, that is treated as a command and it will be behaving accordingly. Now I'm running :w. You see the :w is taken here, not in the file. Why? Currently my editor is in the command mode and now whatever you type, that is treated as a command. Now it is behaving accordingly. :w enter, that is where you can see 35 characters are written. That means this many number of characters are saved into the file. Save is completed. Now I want to come out from this file. I'm done with my changes. I have added the data to the file and let come out to the bash shell. Again, the command is :q, right? So :q is the command to come out from this VI editor and back to your bash shell. So it is proving that the VI editor has a command mode and the insert mode. The command mode where you need to give the commands how the VI editor has to behave. Insert mode where you exactly add the data to the files. Now the file is created. The file has some content. If you want to read the content of the file, the command is cat. Right? Now you see the line that was added to the file, I'm able to read using
So
the cat
here
command.
I have a question here.
Yes, Saket.
You said that in VA editor you have two commands, insert command and insert mode and command mode, right? So
Mhm,
currently we are in command mode. How to transfer from command mode to insert mode?
mhm. Well, so let me go to the file again. VI F1, right? So it is opening the existing file. The existing file has some data already, so it is showing the same data for me. As I said, by default, when you open the file in the VI editor, it is in the command mode. Now, whatever the letter that you type, that is treated as the command. Now, I want to insert the data, so we need to type I. Okay, so when you type I, it will be in the insert mode. Now we can start adding the data. The data is modified, let's say. Now I have done some changes. I want to save the file. To save the file, again, I need to go back to the command mode. To go back to the command mode, I need to press escape. When you press escape, now it is in the command mode. Now I can give the command called :w to save the file. Hit enter. File is saved. Now maybe I wanted to do a few more changes to my data. I want to insert few more lines. Same thing. Currently I am in the command mode. To go to the insert mode, again press I. Now I am in the insert mode. Now start writing the data. Whenever you're done with your changes, again press escape to go back to the command mode and run the command to save the content. So you will be switching between command mode and the insert mode. The insert mode where you exactly add the data to the file, command mode where you are giving the commands to do some, maybe you wanted to save the file, you want to exit from the editor, so on other things. Now let's say I have modified some data, but for some reason, maybe, right, this text is duplicated. You see, maybe by mistake, I have added some duplicated data. I want to remove this text. If I want to remove the text, obviously, the cursor has to be moved to the right location where you want to delete the text, correct? Even in the notepad file, you do the same. You go and click on the location where you want to manipulate the data, then the cursor will be moved to that location and know run the delete commands. But here the cursor will not move just like that using the mouse. So I need to move the cursor to the location where I want to manipulate the data. Again, we need to give the commands for that. So in the command mode, if you type h, right, the h is the command to move the cursor to the right side at one position. One time you press H, one position the cursor will be moved. Again you press H, one more position will be moved. That is how we need to run H command to move the cursor to the desired location. Once you move the cursor to the desired location, now I want to delete this, correct? If you want to delete, the command is X. One time you press X, one character will be deleted. Again press X, the another character will be deleted. Like that, we can press X multiple times to delete multiple characters. That is how the command mode works for you. Anytime, if you wanted to insert the data, you just press the command called I. That will take you to the insert mode, and now you can start typing the data again. See, now it is taking the data. I want to save, escape colon W. I want to move the cursor to the right side, H is the command. I want to move the cursor to the left side, L is the command. I want to copy this entire line and paste it. Y is the command to copy the entire line. P is the command to paste it. You see, I'm just typing P here. I'm just pasting the lines. YY is the command to copy the entire line where my cursor is there, and P is the command to paste it. And again guys, don't worry about these commands. You need not to remember them now. The goal is to understand the behavior of the VA. Yes, there are some commands to do these manipulations. That's good enough. The exact commands we'll get it from the documentation. We need not to worry about it, and I'm going to publish this documentation with you guys with all the list of commands that you need to know. Right? So let's say now I want to move the cursor to the top. K is the command. If you run K, the cursor is moved to the top. If you run J, the cursor will be moved to the bottom. That's how we need to move the cursor to the desired location, then accordingly we can manipulate it. X is the command to delete the characters. Uppercase X is the command to delete the characters to the before the cursor. You see, the characters are getting removed before the cursor. Lowercase x is removing the character at the cursor position. That's the difference between lowercase x and uppercase x. If you are using the dd command, the entire line will be deleted. You use the dd 2 times dd, right? The entire line will be deleted. Like that, there are a number of VA editor commands are there. That commands will help you to move the cursor, delete the characters, delete the lines, copy the line, paste the lines, save the file, delete the file, delete the text, right? Quit from the editor. All these will happen through the VA command, guys. Right? So this is where you can see the list of VA editor commands, and I will be publishing this sheet as well in our DevOps real-time portal as well. But as of now, I'm just going through the different website where you can see some list of commands. This is crazy. I just need in one sheet. Okay. So I is the command to insert the data. A is the command to append the data. Escape to go back to the command mode. U for undo the changes, like that. DD for delete. There are many, guys. Okay. So that is how we need to understand the VA editor commands. I think this is the list. You can see how many number of commands that are available here to manipulate the VA editor cursor behavior. Right? So the VA editor is the famous editor, guys, in Linux, and I'll recommend to use the VA editor. And there is one more editor called Nano. Okay, let me come out from this. Okay, So this is called as a nano editor. You see, I'm just using nano here. Okay, nano F1. You see, this is the file is opened in the nano editor. The nano editor works totally different. The VA editor commands will not work here. It has its own set of commands to manipulate the data, and we can see some uh, helping here to save the file, control O, right? To exit from the nano editor, control X. Like that, there are some, the helping commands are available here. So now if I want to come out from the nano editor, control X is the command. Let me type control X. I'll not recommend, and you need not to worry about the nano editor. No one use this nano, right? So just focus on the VA editor, how to edit the content and go through the VA editor related commands to look at. It's very important, guys, to understand the VA editor, because going forward we will be using the VA editor to edit the file content as per the requirements. For now, I'll open the file in the VA editor. I'll go to the insert mode and I'll add some data. Now I want to come out from this editor. Escape to go back to the command mode. :Q is the command to come out. You see, you done some changes to the file, but you have not saved the content, and without saving the file, you are trying to exit from the editor. It is not allowing. Now you have two options, right? Even in the Windows, same thing. If you try to close the file, it will ask you, hey, you have not saved the content. You want to save or discard, correct? If you don't want to save, you can use the exclamatory to overwrite. So if you don't want to save the data, still you want to come out, then Q exclamatory is the command. The exclamatory is to force, right? So that it will not save the content, it will just exit from the editor. So all these the different commands that we need to be familiar in the VA editor, guys. Good. Now, keeping this in mind, okay, I'll show you why the VA editor is more important. Okay, so let me create a user now. I just wanted to take you guys to the different use case, how the VA editor is important. Okay, so let me create a user. We are already familiar how to create a user account, guys. User add, specify the username, passwd, specify the username and give the password, correct? Can I log into this user with this username, guys? As of now, I think I have already shown you, right? The moment when you have created a user account, you cannot logging in, right? So if you try to log in, it won't accept. Why? By default, the EC2 instances are accepting only key-based authentication, and the key that you have is applicable only for EC2-user. Now, how do I log into the server with my own username that I have created? This is where we need to understand how the login process works. As of now, let me fix this problem, but how exactly it is working we will be seeing in the tomorrow, right? So the login behavior is customized in the file called sshd_config. sshd_config is the file which is containing the login behavior. The login should accept it for the passwords. The login should accept for the only key based, how exactly the server should behave for the logins. That behavior is available in the sshd_config file, right? The sshd_config file is available under the SHS folder. The SHS folder is available under the etc folder. etc is available under the slash folder. So in this file, the login related configuration is updated. This is the default location, guys. Now I have created a user, but I wanted to logging into the server using the password. So then I need to manipulate the login behavior in the configuration file. That is where you need to use the VA editor to change the login behavior, correct? So now I'm using the VA editor to open the file. The file has a lot of information. I'll talk about this file in detail in the tomorrow lecture. But for now, I'm using the VA editor commands to go down. Somewhere you can see that password authentication no. Because this file is having password authentication as no, you are not able to logging into the server using the passwords. It is expecting the key. Now, if you want to allow the server to use the passwords as well, go move the cursor to that position in this configuration file, remove this no, go to the insert mode and put it as yes, then save the file, then exit from the file. You see, I'm using a VA editor to manipulate the options or the configuration behavior of my configuration file. I'm using one more command to make these changes. I'll talk about this command tomorrow, guys, because today we already done with our the session time. So as of now, just focus that I am using the VA editor to change the behavior of the login process. Now let me try to logging into the server using the passwords. The session is inactive. Let me restart. See, the username is PR. Now it is expecting the password to be supplied. Let me give the password and I'm able to log in. Right? So the previously I was not able to because the server configuration file is saying that no passwords to be allowed. Now I have done the changes there, then it is able to, right? It is accepting the user logins using the password also. So that is where you will be using the VA editor, guys. If I ask you, hey, go to the so and so file and do some changes, then you should know the VA editor. You should know how to mention the location of the file. Either you can go for the absolute path or the relative path, not a problem, but you should know how to mention the location of the file, go to the VA, modify the parameter as per the requirement and come out. I'll talk about this command later tomorrow, but for today, if you want to do these changes and test it how it works, maybe you can run this service SSSD restart command after we have done some changes to this file. Why this command has to be run, what is this SSH will be discussed in the tomorrow lecture, guys. Right? So I think as part of the tomorrow lecture, we'll cover the puzzles that we have, like what is SHS and how the user logins works. Where do we see the list of user entries, the respective configuration file, all those things will be discussed in the tomorrow lecture, guys. Right? So the today's scope is to understand the absolute path, relative path, and the present working directory dot notation, parent directory dot dot notation, and how to use the VA editor to uh, work with the command mode as well as the insert mode, and you play around with various VA editor commands to know how to move the cursor, delete the characters, right, and modify the content, all the scenarios that we can try it out. Right, so that's the story for today, guys. If any questions, please do let me know, or else we'll regroup tomorrow. We'll continue our discussion to understand the SSH and other scenarios.
So hi Pierre. So is it possible to give some scenarios for practice these commands?
Correct. So there are some dependencies are there, hence I'm not. So tomorrow I'll be giving you the assessment, guys. Okay. So we can go through the assessment that will help you to understand or practicing all of the Linux basics that I covered. It will
Okay.
be done tomorrow because there is few other dependencies are there. Without them, probably you cannot proceed with the assessment. That's the reason.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi Pia.
Right. So
Hello.
hi Aditya.
So my question is, which is one secure login through username, password, or login through key?
Obviously, if you compare these two methods, logging through the key is more secured.
Okay.
I'm sure you will not use the username and password to logging into the server in real time, but I'm just showing you the different ways of configuring it, right? But we don't use the password based authentication in the real time. You will be using the key based only. Right. So answering to a Sujit Kumar, that will be covered tomorrow, where the users are located, right? What will happen when we create a user and other scenarios.
Yeah, Prasad here.
Yes, Prasad.
Suppose just now you discussed about the relative part and absolute part.
Hmm.
So in the scripting side, can I, in the cron job is there, can I mention the relative part is advisable or absolute part is advisable? So
Hmm.
that my script is there in the MMP directly under the shell script is there. So can I
Hmm.
use the absolute part or a relative part?
Hmm. So the cron, right? Um,
Yeah.
Let me give the best practice. Okay. So cron by default, look for the absolute path. It's better to give the absolute path in your cron syntaxes. Second point,
Okay.
if you don't want to give the absolute path, then you need to give the cd commands before your
Yeah, yeah,
actual command. So that
yeah.
way it will be using that as a present working directory. Until
Yeah.
unless you don't tell what is your PWD, it cannot assume.
Okay.
Hence, you need to use the absolute path in your cron
Absolute.
syntaxes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. So answering to others, right? So yes, the case sensitive is really matter in when you are using the VA editor, right? So the uppercase that you wanted to use, anything is fine, right? Either you use the caps lock on or you use the shift and the character. Both methods are giving you the uppercase only, right? And the remaining, the sudoers is something will be discussed maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. All these will be followed up, guys. Right. So answering to Pratima probably. So if you want to use two commands at one go, right? We can do like this. For example, cd where I am now. Okay, maybe cd dir3. This is one command. Now I want to run one more command called touch F3, right? If you want to use both commands at one go, you can use the semicolon as a separator. So if you run the command something like this is one command, this is the other command. The semicolon will make that difference. These two will be executed one after other. But we don't use this kind of patterns, right? So we need not to worry about this kind of things. But I'm just giving the answer as you ask me. Yeah, I think if no questions, probably we are good for today, guys. We'll meet up tomorrow. We'll continue our discussions.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I was looking for that DPT03 content. So where can I access that?
You meant to say the videos, right? The
Yes. Yes.
video link, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll
Correct.
post the link one more. I'll post the link one more time in the WhatsApp group, and even you can see the link in the group description as well, right? Just try to access
In
that. And
DPT02 group, I'm there, and with the access of DP202, and means like my credential, I can see only DPT01 and 02.
mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
not
just
able
ping
to
me.
see DPT03 videos.
Mhm. Just ping us in the group. I'll check that.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. In DPT02 only I can ping, right?
Yeah, whatever the group that you have added, right? Just ping in the same group. We'll look into that.
Okay, and regarding that assignments and all the links and credentials, I have not received still. Actually, the thing is, I have my office, and in the morning time, I'm not always able to join this. So I will be listening the recordings in the evening. So that is why I'm asking this.
Yeah. So if you have missed something, right? Yeah, just ping us. I'll help you out.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you. Good guys. Yes. Answering. Thanks for answering, Karthik. We'll be discussing those commands in upcoming lectures anyway.